Hi everyone, Ticha Denis Kruger again. In this video, we want to look at how to insert and format shapes in Microsoft Word. Like you've noticed, I am Dennis. I am an ICT teacher, graphic designer, web developer. In case you wish to get more guidance, consultatively as an individual, you can call me using that number. You can as well send me an email address. However, you can as well use the comment section below this video to share any comment, make any question. I'll get back to you accordingly. Like I told you, today we want to cover how to master shapes, master in shapes by inserting and formatting. So look at the meaning of shapes, purpose of shapes, then we look at how to insert basic shapes, how to format shapes, we'll look at advanced features, then I'll share with you some of the practical applications of shapes. So let's get started. Well, what is a shape? A shape is a graphical object that can be used to create simple drawings, diagrams, or designs. In word processing, we use shapes to illustrate content. Well, while we have inserted our shapes, we can fill it with a color or with a border, or we can fill both, like you noticed. Well, now for the very start or the first part of our video, we will look at how to insert basic shapes. And here, I'll show you how to access shapes, how to choose shapes, how to draw shapes, and how to resize shapes. Okay, so if you can see my desktop, for good file organization and management, I have a folder called Inserting Shapes. So I'll move the pointer there and double click to open my shape. Inside this folder, I want to create a file, Microsoft Word file. So I right click inside the folder, select New, and then choose Microsoft Word document. And having created a file, I'll give this file a name. I want to save it as inserting and formatting shapes as the file name. Then I click enter my keyboard to save it. Well, to open the file, I take the pointer to the file and then I double click on it. And having double clicked, yes, this is my interface. I believe you've worked with this interface so much. So in inserting basic shapes, the first part is accessibility. How do you access the shapes? To access the shapes, you navigate to the Insert tab. And from the Insert tab, we utilize the illustration group. Now, in the illustration group, there are many objects. See, these are commands that allow us to add very many objects. You can add pictures, you can add icons, 3D models, smart art, charts, and screenshots. Now, a video, we're looking at shapes. So to access shapes finally, you click the drop-down arrow on Insert Shapes. The second part is in choosing shapes. Well, these shapes are categorized in different ways. We have lines, we have rectangles, we have basic shapes, we have block arrows, equation shapes, flowcharts, and then stars and banners, of course with callouts. Okay, now how do we draw a shape? To draw a shape, among these categories, you pick the picture of your preference. Let's look at a tube. So I move the pointer to a tube, and I click on a tube. Immediately, the mouse arrow will change to a plus sign. So move the cursor to the position where you want to draw your shape. And while there, long press the shift button and long press your left button, and then draw the shape. Now a picture has two dimensions. We have the width and then we have the height. So the reason why we hold shift key while drawing the picture is to maintain the picture aspect ratio. So the shape aspect ratio simply means the ratio of the width to the height. Well, this is our shape. Next part is resizing the shape. So to resize your shape, when you click on a picture, there are circles around the picture. Circles are known as resizing handles. So you can consider moving the pointer to the resizing handle, long press the shift button, and then use drag your mouse, like long press the left button and drag. Again, this is just to help you maintain the aspect ratio. In some limited instances, you may stretch it by using the other resizing handle. Although, the best way to resize a picture is normally by using the diagonal resizing handles. And well, that's how we resize a shape. I want to quickly draw another one. So I go to Insert tab, go to Shapes. From Basic Shapes, select the shape of my preference, move the pointer where I want to draw the shape, long press the Shift button, keyboard, and now drag your mouse. Long press the left button and drag your mouse. That's a shape again. You can resize again by clicking on the shape, and when the resizing arrows appear, you can long press the left button, the cursor to the resizing hand of your choice. Now drag to resize your shape. Okay, that's all about formatting shapes, rather inserting shapes. In the next part of our video, I want us to look at how to format a shape. So formatting simply allows us to control the appearance of our shape. The appearance can be modified in form of shape styles. You can also fill directly a color, a shape. You can change an outline color. And finally, you can apply the shape effects. So let's quickly go through again our shapes to see how we can format our shapes. So first step is select the shape drawn. When you select it, there is a new tab which will appear called Shape Format on your ribbon. So make sure the pointer and select Shape Format. This tab has many groups, but all are tools to help you format your shape. We have Insert Shapes, we have Shape Styles, we have Word Art Styles, among others like we shall utilize later. So let's begin with Shape Styles. Shape Styles controls the general appearance of your shape. So to customize the shape style, having selected the shape, navigate to the shape styles, click the drop down arrow. So these are some of the styles already that you can apply your shape to. Simply move your cursor and select the style of your choice that you wish to customize your shape. And you can observe quickly the shape will change the style. So that's how you customize the shape style. Select it, go to shape styles, and then choose the styles. Well, the next part is to fill color inside the shape. So to control the appearance by filling a color, click on the shape, still using the shape format and the shape styles group, click on shape fill, and then select the color of your choice. Fill in the color of your choice. And that's how you control the general appearance of the shape by filling a color. Okay, so filling the color controls the background of that shape. The third part in controlling the format of the shape is by adding a shape outline. Consider the shape outline as the border of the line around that shape. So to add a border around that shape, you go to Shape Format Still, having selected your shape, Shape Styles, click Shape Outline, and choose an outline of your choice. Please, you can also use Shape Outline to adjust weight. The weight controls the thickness of your border. So you can always choose as to your preference, and several practical instances will require different settings. But for learning purposes, I'm just selecting randomly for us to utilize. Shape outline can as well help us to customize the type of the line. Like in case you wanted to move from the solid line to dotted lines, and the round dotted lines, they are square dotted lines according to your preference, just in case you desire to have such a line style. And that is all about shape outline. The fourth part in formatting the shape is by adding shape effects. So to add an effect to your shape, you select the shape, move to Shape Format Still, tab, then go to Shape Styles group. In this group, click on Shape Effects. Please note there are many attributes from which we can apply shape effects. We have shadow, which gives our shape a shadow in different ways. You simply try to select different templates here to choose the one that serves your preference, the way you want the shape to be added or applied. Still, you can add a reflection as a shape effect. You can make the shape to glow. There are many variations in terms of glow. You can still add an effect on the edges, and then you can also add 3D rotation. The bevel is also very important. So I know you'll go through this and choose what effect suits your preference, but consider an effect in terms of shadow, in terms of reflection, in terms of glow, in terms of soft edges that can help your shape have a better look, better appearance. So that's all on how we format our shapes. Let's continue. Please consider pausing the video to go through and practice. Well, the third part of our video, we want now to go advanced way. How can we use advanced shape format to give our shape very good appearance? Well, one of the advanced features I want to show to you is by using alignment and distribution. I'll be showing you shortly. Two, if you have more than one shapes and you want to have combine them in one object, we can group them. Can ungroup in case you want to control them each separately. Then you can also include text or content in shapes. And finally, you can rotate shapes. So that's all about the advanced shape options. So let us go through our shapes again. Now, if you can observe, we have two shapes. You may wish to align these shapes in different ways. I have them on one page. So you may wish to make these shapes be aligned in the center of a document. You may wish them just to be aligned together as a center. Now, to control alignment and distribution, it is important you first select the two shapes. So to select the two shapes, you simply select the first shape, hold Ctrl key on your keyboard, move the pointer to the second shape. And when you locate that shape, the mouse arrow will immediately change to a plus sign. So use your mouse left button to select the shape by clicking. And well, I have selected the two shapes. That's the precaution. Make sure the two shapes are selected. And then further, go to the shape format. Then in the group of arrange here, there is a command called align objects. So click align objects. So these are the different ways. First, in utilizing align objects, you may have to select the way you want to align the shapes. You want to align them as selected objects, or you want to align them on a page. Aligning selected objects will allow you control how the shapes will be organized, like you will see. Now, this is select. Let's first try. In aligning selected objects, you can make the shapes be aligned on the left, organized on the left margin, like you've seen in the alignments in previous videos. You can also align them in the center, like organizing the shapes together in the center. Then you can also align them on the right, and you can align them in the middle, the shapes to be put together. So that is all about in aligning selected objects. However, if you want the shapes to be aligned in the center of a page, then you'll have to switch from align selected objects to align to a page. So you simply, from our drop-down menu, select align to a page. And after you've selected that setting, you go back to shape format, back to align objects, and now choose center. If you chose center, like you can see, the shapes will be placed in the center of your document. Like you can see, the center of our document, the shapes will be placed in the center of the document for that very effect. Okay, so that's all about with aligning. You can generalize the same skill to distributing horizontally and vertically. Okay, the next part in shape and rather advanced objects is by grouping the shapes. So consider grouping as a tool that allows you to combine the shapes into one, and combining them into one allows you control them. Control them can involve copying them, paste moving them, editing them all as a single document. So to select these shapes, of course, to group them, you may have to select them. Select the first shape like did previously. Hold down Ctrl key on your keyboard, move the mouse and click the second shape. So there, you've selected the two shapes. And then to group the shapes, go to shape format here, and then go to the arrange group. Below the align objects, we have the group objects command. So click the drop down arrow and then select group. You can see the shapes have been combined into one. Now I can control them together. I can reduce them together. I can enlarge them. I can cut them and paste them on another page. That's what we call grouping. That's the purpose of grouping rather. Well, I want to undo this because you've seen it. Undoing by using the undo button to separate the shapes. So we've looked at alignment, then we've looked at how to group shapes. Now the other advanced option that I have to talk about is adding text to the shape. To add content in a given shape, you can simply always select the shape, then start typing automatically. The contents will be added in your shape. But where you don't see the insertion points, if I can undo this again, you can simply click on the shape, right click, and then click add text. Then of course, type in the content you wish that shape to have. Still, click on the shape and then just start typing. The insertion point, when the shape is selected, will move inside the shape and then allow you to type your shape. So that's how we add content. But in the application part, as we continue, I will show you later the advanced way of controlling the shape, of adding text and controlling the shapes, the text in the content in the shapes. And finally, we also have the other advanced option, which involves you controlling the position of your shape. If you can look here, I have two shapes. I have a tube here, so you can always select the tube or the shape in case you want to format or you want to control it. So in the last part in advanced options, it is arranging, like controlling the position of your shapes. So I have intentionally moved this shape to cover the tube. Now in case you wanted to make this shape appear in the background, you can always consider using this method. We go to shape format. Under shape format, we still have the group of arrange. There is bring forward, then there is send backward. Send backward can allow you to send your picture or your shape in the back. Yeah, so you can bring it forward according to your preference, or consider clicking the drop down arrow and select the preference that suits you accordingly. So that's how we arrange the shape. But where you have content in your shape and you want your shape to be in the back, maybe as a watermark, then you consider using wrap text. And then you now select behind text so that you can make your shape to be in the background. So that's how we can use the advanced options to format our shapes. Well, that's what I initially wanted you to have. However, I want us to conclude this video by sharing some of the practical applications. In the practical applications, I have this cycle. You may wish to draw this cycle. You may wish to draw a Venn diagram. Shapes can be utilized to draw Venn diagrams. Then shapes can also be very helpful in making flowcharts. Of course, among others, there are many ways, very many instances, very many conditions when the shapes can be utilized for different purposes. So creativity is always yours in utilizing shapes for illustrating given content as far as need arises. So let us go through. I would wish to create a new page. So what I do here is I scroll. I use the scroll bars to scroll just below the shapes. Double click on at the end of the shape. I want to create a new page, so I double click at the bottom of those shapes, and then after that I insert a page quickly using Control Enter. Perform just quick page break. Control Enter. So this page, I want us to quickly have an application. I would wish us to draw a Venn diagram to help us apply the shapes as we have shared. So while the cursor is on page 2, like you see, to now begin drawing my shapes, I go to the Insert tab, go to Shapes. Now under Rectangles, I want to choose a rectangle like we did previously. Hold down Shift key. I said Shift key can allow you to draw your shape while keeping the aspect ratio. So I've drawn my rectangle and I can resize this rectangle according to my preference simply by selecting the shape or clicking on it, moving the cursor to the resizing handle, and then dragging the resizing handles, that is to align the picture to my preference. I've drawn a rectangle and I've resized it using the resizing handle. The next step is I have to format this shape. I have to control this appearance to suit what I wish. So what I do is after selecting the shape, like we've seen in the previous video, go to shape format. Go to shape fill and then select the color of my choice. Now for mathematical objects, I will advise you always use no fill so that the color is not in the shape. So I have switched the shape fill to no fill because I don't want to have a background in that shape. Having chosen shape fill to no fill, I proceed to the outline. How would I want the outline to be for this mathematical object? I'll still retain it to black. And finally, in the weights, I'll give it to half a point. I want the line to just be that point. So there are three formatting features you observed. Shape fill, no fill, shape outline, black, and the weight of that is half a point. So using still this shape format, I can use the group of insert shapes to add another shape. To do that, I click on oval, which I wish to utilize. Now having selected, I hold down shift key. Having held shift key, long press the left button and I'll draw my oval. That's how I draw my oval. You can see by holding shift key, I am able to draw my shape, retaining the aspect ratio, the width and the height. And finally, having drawn the shape, I go to shape fill, like I said earlier on, choose no fill, then shape outline, choose the outline as black, you can see, and then weight still, I want to make it half a point. Please note that after drawing your shape and giving it the formatting feature of your choice, in case you want to format, to change the shape, like where you desire to have a rectangle, a triangle here, without changing the, without redrawing the shape, I go to the shape insert shapes group, then click the drop down arrow there on change shape, click change shape and then choose the shape. So this tool can help you change the shape, retaining the formatting feature that you have drawn. So we have our oval, and in this oval now we want to proceed to duplicate, because in a Venn diagram we can have as many objects inside the other. So at this point I go to the home tab, or I can simply right click. So on the home tab, I click on copy and then I click paste to duplicate that shape. I will use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move my shape. Please, there, I'm using the arrow keys. I can still, on the home tab, click copy again or just paste because the shape is already on the clipboard. And then I click paste. And thereafter, I can use the arrow keys to move the shape wherever I want. So we've drawn our shapes. We have the first oval or the circle we drew, and then we have just duplicated and pasted using the clipboard group. Then I would wish to move these shapes together. I want to format them, and that requires me to group them. So to group the shapes, I hold the shift key. I first select the first shape, like you've seen, and then hold control key. After that, I go and select the other shapes. And when all the shapes are selected, I can move them wherever I want them to be in that Venn diagram. Finally, I also want to hold Control key and then I select the rectangle so that it is also part of that general shape. Having selected all my shapes using Control key, I go to Shape Format, go to Arrange Group, and then under Arrange, I click Group, and then select Group. So you've seen I've grouped my shapes together. The purpose of grouping is to move them together as one image where you want to copy and paste them on different pages, or where you want to control it as one object. And finally, how do I add content in this Venn diagram? To add content in this Venn diagram, I can choose to use text box. So still using shape format, we move the group of insert shapes. And then among here, I can still click on text box under the basic shapes. Having selected this text box, I move the cursor where I want to add the content and then draw a text box. After I've drawn a text box, right there, what I want the text box to have. Please note that when you draw your text box, it will have different format features. It has the outline and it has the color. So to format the text box after I have drawn it, still navigate to shape format, to shape fill. I advise you choose no fill so that there's no color inside that shape. Then shape outline, choose no outline. Again, you can draw other shapes, but I want to copy and paste this text box elsewhere. So I click on the text box, go to Home tab, click on Copy, and then click Paste. And thereafter, I drag the shape text box wherever I want it to be with the content. I can as well just paste because the other one is still in the clipboard, or I can select the shape, click Copy, click Paste, then drag the shape wherever it's supposed to be, put in the content. Again, select your text box, click on Copy, click Paste, then drag it elsewhere you want it to be, then put in your content. I want to make this X, and then I'll click on the text box, click Copy, click Paste, and then move it wherever I want it to be. Drag it, let me put Y here, and then there. After that, I click on the shape again, click Copy, then click Paste, move the text box wherever you want it to be. Then I want to put this as Z. Finally, for the intersection still, I can click on the shape, click Copy, click Paste, and after that, drag your shape in the intersection part, and then put your intersection. Let me put 2. So you've observed I have utilized text boxes to add content where I want the shape to have content. So finally, before we finalize with this shape, it is important that you also group these text boxes because you've observed we've been drawing them independently and added content. So to group them, select one of them, hold Shift key on your keyboard and go and select others. You select by clicking while Shift key is held. So I am simply using the mouse and clicking inside the text while Shift key is held. And having selected all of them, go to shape format and then go and click on, go to the arrange group. Under the group command, click on group. So we have grouped the text boxes together because we want to control them. And finally, we can then group the text box to the shapes that we drew earlier on. What I do is I hold my control while these text boxes are still selected like that. I hold Control key on the keyboard and then go and click on the Venn diagram. So in this case, I've selected the Venn diagram, then I've selected the text box. So what I do is I then move to shape format. Under the arrange group, click on group and then click group. So you observe I have I've combined the shapes with the text boxes. In that case, I can now move this object wherever I want. Where in the part of the content I wanted it to be in between text, I just have to take the shape there and then maybe I can wrap the table, or I can send it behind text in any setting I wish to apply. So let me try to show something else before we conclude our video. I want to double click outside that Venn diagram, go back to Insert tab, go back to Shapes, click on the oval, long press the Shift button, and please go to Insert tab, go to Shapes, click on oval, and after that, while the pointer is still selected, long press your left button and draw the shape. Okay, so after you have drawn the shape, after you have drawn the shape, of course, drawing the shape requires you hold the Shift key, then drag it. Then I want to give the shape fill to no fill, shape outline to black, and then the weight, I want to make it as light as possible to have a point. Then I want to use the Home tab, click on Copy, click Paste, use the arrow keys to move. And then finally, I also want to copy, and then I paste this down. After creating the three shapes, I use Ctrl key to select the shape. You hold Ctrl key and then move the cursor around the shape until you've selected all. Now go to Shape Format. Under Shape Format, here we have very many tools of controlling that shape. You can go further to group the shapes together like I've discussed previously. Okay, and the other application, if you note down, that we've shared is drawing a flowchart. And to draw the flowchart still requires you to, let me create a new page using the previous skill. So I move the insertion point at the bottom, and then I press Ctrl Enter. Having held Ctrl Enter to create a page break, go to Insert Shapes, go to Shapes. Now flowcharts have very many tools. If you want the flowcharts oval, you click on the shape of your choice. And after you have clicked on it, you go and draw it just as you have been drawing accordingly. So I believe you can use this video to insert your shapes. And in any case, if you need some help, you can consider getting back to me in the reactions button. Thank you very much.